The Roman Empire stands as a testament to human ambition and power. From its legendary founding by Romulus and Remus to its transformation into a sprawling empire, Rome's story is one of unparalleled growth and influence. The city of Rome itself, with its 7 hills and strategic location along the Tiber River, became the heart of an empire that would shape the course of history. At its zenith, Rome's reach extended across vast territories, encompassing much of Europe, North Africa and the Middle East. This expansion was not just a feat of military conquest, but also of cultural assimilation. The Romans were adept at integrating the diverse peoples they conquered, spreading their language, customs and innovations far and wide. This empire, a beacon of civilization, left an enduring legacy on law, language, architecture and governance. Roman law, with its principles of justice and equity, became the foundation for many legal systems in the Western world. Latin, the language of Rome, evolved into the Romance languages spoken by millions today. The architectural marvels of Rome, from the grandeur of the Pantheon to the engineering prowess of the aqueducts, continue to inspire awe and admiration. Roman roads, aqueducts and monuments still stand today, a testament to their ingenuity. These structures were not just functional, but also symbols of Roman power and sophistication. The roads facilitated the movement of armies, trade and information, while the aqueducts brought fresh water to cities, improving public health and urban life. The Roman Empire's story is not just one of triumph, but also a cautionary tale of decline and fall, offering valuable lessons for the superpowers of our time. The ruins of the Roman Forum, once the bustling center of political and social life, now stand as silent witnesses to the empire's former glory and eventual decay. Modern Rome, with its blend of ancient and contemporary, serves as a poignant reminder of the impermanence of even the greatest civilizations. Rome's success was built on a foundation of military prowess, economic strength, and effective administration. The Roman legions, with their discipline, training, and innovative tactics, were unmatched on the battlefield. The economy, bolstered by trade, agriculture, and a complex system of taxation, provided the resources needed to sustain the empire. Efficient administration, with a network of governors and officials, ensured that the vast territories were governed effectively. Its legions, renowned for their discipline and efficiency, subdued enemies and expanded the empire's frontiers. These soldiers were not just warriors, but also builders, constructing forts, roads, and other infrastructure that solidified Roman control over conquered lands. The sight of Roman soldiers marching in formation was a powerful symbol of the empire's might and order. A sophisticated system of roads and maritime routes facilitated trade, connecting the diverse corners of the empire and fueling its economic engine. The Mediterranean Sea, often referred to as the Roman Lake, was crisscrossed by ships carrying goods, people, and ideas. This network of trade routes not only enriched Rome, but also fostered cultural exchange and integration across the empire. Roman law and governance provided a framework for order and stability, contributing to the empire's longevity. The Senate, though often embroiled in political intrigue, played a crucial role in shaping policy and maintaining a balance of power. Legal principles such as the presumption of innocence and the right to a fair trial have their roots in Roman jurisprudence and continue to influence modern legal systems. However, the same factors that propelled Rome's rise also contained within them the seeds of its eventual downfall. The vastness of the empire made it increasingly difficult to defend and administer. Economic challenges, including inflation and reliance on slave labor, weakened the empire's financial stability. Political corruption and power struggles further eroded the effectiveness of governance. As the empire grew, so too did the challenges of maintaining its vast territory, managing its complex economy, and preserving its internal unity. The pressures of defending long borders against external threats, coupled with internal divisions and social unrest, strained the empire's resources and resolve. The once unified empire began to fracture, with different regions asserting their independence or falling to invaders. Over time, these challenges proved insurmountable, leading to a gradual but inexorable decline. The fall of Rome was not a single event, but a prolonged process of decay and transformation. Yet, even in its decline, the legacy of Rome endured, influencing the development of Western civilization and leaving an indelible mark on the world. The grandeur of Rome, though faded, continues to captivate and inspire, reminding us of the heights of human achievement and the lessons of history. One of the primary factors contributing to Rome's fall was its overextension. The Roman Empire, at its zenith, spanned 3 continents, encompassing a vast array of territories and cultures. This immense size, while a testament to Rome's military prowess and strategic acumen, also sowed the seeds of its eventual decline. As the empire expanded, its frontiers became increasingly difficult to defend. The sheer length of the borders, stretching thousands of miles, required a significant military presence to patrol and protect. This was no small feat, as the Roman legions had to be stationed in remote and often hostile territories. Stretching its military resources thin across vast distances, Rome faced constant pressure from barbarian tribes seeking to breach its borders. These tribes, including the Visigoths, Vandals and Huns, were relentless in their attempts to penetrate Roman defences, leading to frequent and costly skirmishes. The legions, once symbols of Roman might, found themselves spread thin, engaged in a perpetual struggle to contain the growing threats on multiple fronts. This constant state of warfare drained the empire's resources and morale, making it increasingly difficult to maintain the same level of military efficiency and effectiveness. This overextension of military power strained Rome's resources and weakened its ability to respond effectively to crises. The logistical challenges of supplying and reinforcing distant outposts further exacerbated the situation, leading to delays and shortages that hampered military operations. Moreover, the vast size of the empire made communication and logistics a daunting task. The famous Roman roads, while engineering marvels, could only do so much to bridge the vast distances between the capital and the frontier provinces. Orders from Rome took months to reach distant provinces, and coordinating military campaigns across such vast distances proved challenging. This delay in communication often meant that by the time orders arrived, the situation on the ground had changed, rendering the directives obsolete. This delay in communication and movement hampered Rome's ability to react swiftly to threats and maintain control over its far-flung territories. The slow response times allowed enemies to exploit weaknesses and launch surprise attacks, further destabilizing the empire. Furthermore, the empire's expansion brought with it the responsibility of governing a diverse array of peoples and cultures. Each newly conquered territory had its own customs, languages, and traditions, which often clashed with Roman laws and practices. Integrating these conquered populations into the Roman system proved to be a complex and often contentious process. Efforts to Romanize these diverse groups met with varying degrees of success, and resistance to Roman rule was not uncommon. Uprisings and rebellions became more frequent, further straining Rome's resources and undermining its stability. These internal conflicts, combined with external pressures, created a perfect storm that ultimately led to the empire's downfall. The Roman Empire's economic prosperity, once the envy of the ancient world, also faced significant challenges. Despite its vast wealth and resources, the empire was not immune to the pressures and strains that come with managing such an extensive territory. The grandeur of Rome's architecture and the sophistication of its urban planning masked underlying economic vulnerabilities that would eventually contribute to its decline. The cost of maintaining a vast empire, particularly its sprawling military and administrative apparatus, placed a heavy burden on the Roman treasury. The legions, stationed across the empire's frontiers, required constant funding for their upkeep, training, and equipment. Additionally, the administrative machinery needed to govern the diverse and far-flung provinces demanded significant financial resources. As the empire grew, so too did the expenses associated with defending its borders, governing its provinces, and maintaining its infrastructure. The extensive network of roads, aqueducts, and fortifications, while essential for the empire's cohesion and defense, required continuous maintenance and investment. This infrastructure, once a symbol of Roman ingenuity and power, became a financial drain as the empire's resources were stretched thin. This financial strain was exacerbated by a decline in agricultural productivity, inflation, and the depletion of valuable resources through constant warfare. The once fertile farmlands of the empire began to suffer from overuse and environmental changes, leading to reduced yields and food shortages. Inflation, driven by the debasement of the currency, eroded the purchasing power of the populace and destabilized the economy further. The Roman economy, heavily reliant on conquest and plunder in its early days, struggled to adapt to the demands of a vast and complex empire. The initial wealth generated from conquests and the influx of slaves and resources had fueled Rome's growth, but as expansion slowed, so did these sources of income. The empire's economic model, based on continuous expansion, proved unsustainable in the long run. The spoils of war, once a significant source of revenue, dwindled as the pace of expansion slowed. With fewer new territories to conquer, the flow of wealth into the empire's coffers decreased. This reduction in income made it increasingly difficult to fund the military and other essential services, leading to a gradual weakening of the empire's overall power and stability. At the same time, the Roman elite's lavish lifestyles and the growing bureaucracy's expenses placed further strain on the treasury. The opulent banquets, grand villas, and luxurious lifestyles of the wealthy elite were funded by the empire's resources, diverting funds away from more critical needs. The expanding bureaucracy, necessary to manage the empire's complex affairs, also consumed a significant portion of the budget. To make matters worse, Rome's trade routes, once the lifeblood of its economy, became increasingly vulnerable to piracy and disruption. The Mediterranean, which had been a Roman lake, saw a resurgence of piracy that threatened the safety of merchant vessels. These disruptions not only affected the flow of goods, but also undermined the confidence of traders and investors in the stability of the Roman economy. As the empire weakened, it became more difficult to protect its merchant ships and secure its trade routes, leading to economic instability and a decline in prosperity. The once mighty Roman navy, tasked with safeguarding the seas, struggled to keep up with the growing threats. This inability to ensure safe passage for trade further eroded the economic foundation of the empire, contributing to its eventual downfall. Perhaps the most significant factor in Rome's decline was its internal division. Political instability, corruption, and social unrest plagued the empire in its later centuries. A succession of weak or corrupt emperors, often more concerned with personal power than the well-being of the empire, eroded public trust and weakened the fabric of Roman society. The Roman Senate, once a bastion of republican virtue and a check on imperial power, became increasingly fractious and ineffective. Personal ambition and factionalism replaced the spirit of public service, contributing to a climate of political paralysis and instability. Moreover, a widening gap between the rich and the poor, coupled with a decline in traditional values, fueled social unrest. As the empire's wealthy elite amassed vast fortunes, the plight of the poor and the burden of taxation fell disproportionately on the lower classes. This growing disparity, combined with a sense of moral decay, created fertile ground for social unrest and rebellion.